Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, MtoA 530, I will be continuing on the Orc series, which we have started 2 parts ago. So this is the 3rd part, and if you have missed the other ones, please check the other ones in the descriptions below. This Orc model was provided by Eduardo. He's a very talented artist on ArtStation. He's from Chile. He has lots of different portfolios which you can look up. Please follow him. He's very professional, doing very cool work. And if you haven't followed me, I'm on Instagram, or you can check out my recent 3D renders or my time here in Vancouver where to take some snapshots. And obviously I am on YouTube, so if you're watching this, I would highly appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me and will help me on YouTube. Also, Eduardo was kind enough to provide the model and all the textures for free, so you will find the link in the description below if you want to follow along. And one last thing, if you want to get access to the source files of my Maya scene with the lighting, with the shading networks and all that, you will find that on my Patreon channel, and you would need to sign up for the source materials, and you will get access to all the previous tutorials which I have created and all the source files for that too. So keep that in mind, and if you just want to support me, obviously feel free to do so. And again, if you like what I do, a like goes a long way, so thank you guys for that. And let's continue on our little adventure with this orc guy. So I finished off the last part, finishing off the teeth, the mouth, and added some kind of breakup to the dirt on his forehead. And the next step, what I want to work on is all these little accessories, which is the metal plating, the leather, and the necklace. We also have a different kind of view 5, which is his full body, so you can see what work still needs to be done. So I have created all those shaders and we will jump into them right now. Alrighty, so let's just first start off with the shoulder pieces. So I have a shader somewhere here, which is this metal thing, and let's just select those. Let's just first create a new tab here, call this maybe shoulders, go to all shaders again and select the pieces we need. So it's definitely those pieces. Shoulders, dirt, and I think these are the displacement maps, and then the eyes, poses. Okay, so let's just add these to the new tab here and hook them up to the shader just to see what they look like. Like that. Alrighty, so I guess it's dirt and displacement maps. Let's just have a look. So that's a shoulder, dirt, and this must be the displacement, which it is. Perfect. All right, so creating a displacement shader, deleting the shading engine, red channel is a luminance, and then this goes to the displacement shader, and the dirt will be multiplied with this guy just to add a bit more breakup to everything. So I'll just use an AI multiply node for this, which is just multiplying those 2 colors together. So let's just do that, and I'll show you the result once I plug this into the base color. So this is now the multiplied result. You can see how dark it gets. Dirt. And let's just see what it looks like. If I go back to shaded, first to base mode actually, just to see the displacement maps working, and you can see there's a super nice breakup. We might just need to add more subdivisions to this. So to all these shoulder platings, let's head down to the subdivision and bring back Cat Clark, which is 2 subdivisions, which might be a bit much. One should, oh, maybe 2 is fine. Let's just stay on 2, go back to shaded mode. Now we have some really nice metal going on. Right now this is still a diffuse shader, which we need to switch to a metal shader. So just bring up the metalness, and this should now be metallic. It's very dark though, so we can mess around with that a bit, and we definitely need to change the roughness, which I like to just use from the diffuse color here. So I'll just use the luminance, create a AI range node, hook that up, and use that for the specular roughness, like that. Not sure why it did not update it. Maybe because it's too dark. Let's just see what that map looks like if I check the red channel here. And we want to make it a bit rougher, so we can just boost those values up like that. So it's more like brushed pretty much. So we have a value of 0.3 here, 0.6, and then fairly clean ones. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, so now we have some breakup, and I think I want to bring in more color, like make it a bit lighter. So I'm just creating a color correct node again. Move these guys over and use that again as my base color. I just feel that it's a bit too dark, and I'll just want to bring up the exposure maybe by half a stop. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so now we have some brighter metal, and I think that looks a bit better. It might still be it looks almost like paint, like chip paint. So we can just add a bit more roughness to everything. Let's see how this map looks like. Let's just try to lift the blacks a bit. Like that. So we just add more breakup. There we go. So it's not super shiny. It's more like dull metal. That's what I'm going for. So I think that's pretty much good now. This might be a bit too rough, but it works well on the left side here. So let's just leave that for now. And displacement. So I think this shader is done for now. Let's just head over to these accessories here. I think that's just a fairly basic shader, which is hidden somewhere. I think that's this guy. Yes. So right now it's super metallic. Let's just add this actually to the shoulder pieces here. So it's a bit separated from the rest. There we go. And then what I want to do is just create an AI noise shader to just add some slight breakup to everything. Hook that up to the base color. Check how it looks in the map mode. Looks like that. And then I just want to increase the scale, maybe go up to 8 for the maps here. Just to add some kind of texture to it, so it's not super boring and flat looking. And then bring up the octaves maybe to 5, so to get more detail. Maybe add some distortion, so it's a bit more organic. Maybe go here on 3, and this will be my base color. We can maybe adjust those ranges a bit, so it's not polished chrome. It should be something like used up, maybe a bit saturated, some color to this. Let's see what that looks like. And then we want to add some roughness to this, so it's also a dull metal, something like that. We can maybe change the color to a more warmer color, so it's pretty much bronze or something like that. Bronze armor. I'm not sure if this is too colorful for these metal pieces. I think it is too colorful, so maybe let's go more for a desaturated look. Let's see what that looks like. That works pretty much. Let's see here again. Yeah, I think that's better. All right, next up is these necklaces, and I'm not sure what shader is currently on them. It's the AI necklace shader. So let's just create a new tab for these guys and see what we have in place for them. So we've got these guys, shading engine, necklaces, and the diffuse component. We have no dirt for them. We have buttons. I'm not sure where they go. We've got necklaces here for displacement. And I think that is it. So let's just add these guys, and we kind of do now the same thing as we did before. Let's just have a look first at the displacement. Let's see if I bring up that. Yeah, we definitely have something on it. Yeah, I think it's just some kind of noise to modulate some kind of detail on them. Let's check the wireframe. Yeah, it's super dense actually already. Is that correct? I guess so. I'm not sure why it's so subdivided. Oh, I guess it's using the viewport subdivision. That must be it. Let's check actually. Where would that be? Mesh component. Smooth mesh preview. Use preview for rendering. We don't want that. Okay, so this should hopefully do it. Okay, so I just removed the subdivision, and now this is how they look like. So let's just create a displacement shader for the necklaces and hook up the red luminance channel and hook up the displacement to the shader. So now the skulls and everything should be displaced slightly. Some kind of breakup on them. So they're not 100% flat anymore. And I think that's just what happened. So we can just play around with the maps a bit. Maybe adjust the shader. I think they are a bit bright. So we can first of all play around with the roughness, maybe 3. IOR should go down, maybe 4 or 5 or something. I always don't like it when stuff is too shiny. Because typically everything really is not shiny. Like when you use it, like an orc, for instance, like if you check these references here, like it's super dull actually. Like maybe the leather has something on it, but there's nothing really standing out, which is super glossy. Like almost all Lambert shaders here, you can see there's nothing really shining on this guy. So and we just want to keep that in mind and not go overboard with things. So that's something I always like to do. All right, so I'm just reducing the weight just to quickly see what is actually affected by all this. So it's pretty much everything right here in this area. So this is now the value on 1. We just want to go down, maybe not as much, something like that maybe. And we can try to introduce some scattering. Maybe that works, maybe not. Let's see. Subsurface color. Come on. Like that. And now let's just reduce the radius by quite a lot. Random walk 2, radius 0.05. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's really needed, but it will add some nice effect if there's a strong light source from behind or something like that. So it might just be worth it. The radius should be something yellowish, like because the light is passing through that medium, returns a color. So I think we can work with that. Oh, it looks actually like the necklaces went a bit bright here. Is that the same thing? Yeah. Okay, so these thinner parts will get affected quite a lot by this. Maybe go 0.8. So it's slightly diffused too. All right, so next up, I would say is the leather streams, which we have on him here. And are they subdivided? They might be as well. Let's check the wireframe. Yeah, they're highly subdivided too. So it's again taking in the viewport subdivision. So I'm just disabling that, and I rather use the Arnold subdivision tab down here. Like that. So this is now subdividing it. So it's fairly fast in the viewport, but it's using these kind of things here from Arnold to subdivide the geometry. And let's check the basic mode here. Go to all, check where the leather shader is. It's up there. So I'm just first creating a new tab. Call this leather. And then I will just be hooking up or adding actually these nodes here to the new leather tab. Let's see if we find that. Leather has some dirt, and it looks like it has displacement too. Perfect. So let's bring these guys over, add them here, and then we just kind of pretty much do the same as we did before. That's the dirt. I'll just do it pretty much blindly just to save some time. Blindly means I just don't check them before I render again. Hook these up. These are my base color. Base color should be 1. IOR of maybe 5 is good, I think. Let's go 3.5 for the roughness. This guy gets a displacement shader. Hook up the red luminance to displacement and hook up displacement right there. So now it should be displaced. We can actually start a fresh render and just see that everything is working as expected. Alright, so let's check the shaded mode for the leather part. Takes a bit of time. Why is that? There we go. So now we have the leather in place. I think the leather should be a lot darker. So let's just first click here. And we've got the dirt multiplied on top already, so that is working very well. I'd just like to reduce the diffuse component, just reducing the color, maybe 0.4. Typically, I do not do that in the weights. I typically use a node, like a color correct node, just to bring it down. But I know this will just be a diffuse shader. I do not care about scattering in this one, so we can just leave it as it is. These little bits here, I think they are part of the leather, which should, in my opinion, not be treated as light as they are right now. So I'll just create a surface shader and assign that to those little strands, and then I'll just make them darker because they look way too light and it's a bit distracting in my opinion. So we've got these guys. Let's just do selected highlighting. So it's all these, and I just want to assign the shader to them, and then I'll just select the brown color and just dial it down. Maybe like that, and I just go really dark on these guys so they are not that distracting. Maybe desaturate it. Yeah, let's see what that looks. Okay, I think that feels a lot better. And as of right now, I think we have pretty much all the shaders in place. And the next step would be to tweak the lighting. So let's just choose, actually not the lighting, we still need to bring in the hair as we said before. So let's just check a different angle here. I think everything holds up fairly nice in these close-ups. Yeah, I think that works very well. So now let's go down to our view 4, I think. Nope, not this guy. 3. Yeah. So that's the one we started out with, and I just want to keep using or working on this guy. So I will unhide the XGen stuff, and then we can see how we assign the shaders for that. All right, so let's just hit unhide here and there. Let's see what we get. So we should now have eyelashes and brows. So, and we've got different shaders everywhere. So we have the eyebrows here, which are these guys. And then we have the head has eyelashes and eyebrows and everything like that as well. So let's just render and see what we get. Alright, right off the bat we get this nice gray shaded hair everywhere, which looks pretty cool already. So it's definitely something we can work with. And we have these has a super fine peach fuzz all over his head, on the ears and cheekbones. So let's just create a new tab in our little shading, hypershade. Call this guy hair. And now let's just first start off with maybe the eyebrow shader. So I'm just creating a AI standard hair shader and select that. I think it's just eyebrows. There's another eyebrow, so I'm not sure. I'll just assign that to both. So now we have that in place. So currently it's just black because the default is black, so we can just bring down the melanin to get some kind of brownish color to him. So I think orcs should have almost black hair, or that's my interpretation of this. And then what I want to do is just bring in some randomization. So I just boost that up fairly high so we get some differentiation. You can see not all the ones are black, they are like broken up, randomized. All right, so let's see. I think that works well. What I always like to do is create an AI float. Nope, an AI ramp float. And I want to hook that up to the opacity. And I will show you what I want to do with that. So let's see. That is not exposed, it looks. Oh, it needs to be a color. Interesting. AI ramp RGB then, and this goes into the, let's just drag that into the opacity slot. Okay. So, and if I view this is currently the ramp, which is defaulting to, and if I change these values, you can see it's going up and down the fibers. What I want to do, I want everything to be white, so fully transparent or opaque, and then the tips to fade out slightly. So this is just what I'm doing here with this little ramp. And what it's doing is just creating a softer transition. You can see they feel just softer. It's not so harsh. So that's all I want to do with this. And yeah, it's a fairly basic trick, but it adds a bit more realism to your hair shaders. And we want to assign the same shader for the eyelashes, like that. Assign that so the lashes are also dark, which is cool. And then I think the beard as well can get exactly the same treatment, and even the body hair. So that would be body hair, beard. Let's just assign it to all these guys actually and see what is left. Okay, so that is assigned. I think all I want to do mostly is like the little thin peach fuzz, which I'm not sure which one it is. It might just be the body hair, which I want to assign a different shader because that should be kind of a almost white shader. I think let's just, if I isolate those, I think that's what they are. Let's just try this again. So if I do a standard hair shader and I assign this to body hair, I think I then can tweak them independently. Let's just see if that is them. I think it is. It's super hard to see because they are just not that visible. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely those. You can see them here on the temple sides of the head here. There we go. So it's super fine hair. So what I want to do, I just want to reduce the melanin to maybe 0.1 to make them brighter. I don't want any redness in them, but I want to create the same, like connect the same ramp to the opacity just to get this nice fall off as well. So now they should be falling off towards the tips. And I think that is all for this shader. Wow, that looks bad from this close up. It definitely does not hold up this close, but it's not intended for these close-up shots, so that is totally fine. So if let's go back to our camera 3 and see what we got. Alright, so now we can see we got the fur. They might be a bit too dark, so we can just maybe slightly lighten them up. I think it's also they are a bit in shadow here, so but anyways, let's just adjust the melanin just to make them slightly brighter. Let's see how they look in light. So now you can see that it's some kind of blonde now, which is fine. It's not too bad. And yeah, so this pretty much sums up what I wanted to do for this part. So if you like, this video, I would really appreciate if you follow along on my YouTube channel, if you would subscribe to my channel, and obviously leave me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, please leave a comment below as well. Like, I'm always happy to improve my channel and make it better. So thank you guys for tuning in and looking at this part 3 of the series, where I was working on the hair shader and bringing in all the accessories in to make them work. So in the next part, which will be the final part, I'll be setting up some light rigs to get closer to this Warcraft lighting scenario maybe. So this is pretty much what we worked on right now, is this orc in this neutral environment, and then I might just be trying to get something more in this firelight environment or something like that. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. I highly appreciate your support, and leave me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.